Hello and welcome back to the Millie Fox Show. This is the first episode of the Millie Fox Show rebooted. I have been on a massive hiatus for the last nearly 3 years because a lot happened in my life, a lot changed in my life, and it's time to start from the version of me that is here today showing up with you. So why did I take 3 years away from my podcast? Well, a lot happened. I was running the podcast with a full team of 4 people. We were putting out awesome episodes, and then I decided to take the summer off. And then a lot happened in my life after that summer. My mom passed away in November of 2022, and shortly thereafter, in January of 2023, my marriage of nearly 10 years ended. And because of those things, my identity shifted massively. I had a lot of stories tied up in my relationship with my mom. So for those of you who know me, those of you who are new to me, I'll give you a little refresher background on that situation. My mom and I had a very difficult relationship from very young age. My mom suffered from a lot of mental health issues, and she had a lot of substance abuse issues, and we went through many different chapters together. But the last year of her life was the best year of our relationship that I ever had with her, which was such a blessing because I really didn't know she was going to pass away, obviously. I knew that her health was not great, but nothing was terminal. So I had a lot of stories tied up in my relationship with her and identity that I am a struggling daughter. I am the daughter of a mother like this and a mother like that. And it was a lot of victim energy. So with her passing, there was this massive shift of, okay, I don't have that story to hang on to anymore. I mean, I could have, but for me, it was this massive permission of, okay, I'm shifting out of this victim identity. And then that became the final straw for me in my marriage, which was on the rocks for 5 years up until that point. And there was a series of events that happened after my mom passed that really just pushed me right over the edge. And I ended up moving out in April of 2023. So we're now in April of 2026 recording this episode. So it's pretty amazing because I've always said after having a child, I believe it takes about 3 years to really come back home to who you are. And I think it's perfect that that's how long it's taken me in this scenario. So I want to welcome you back to the Millie Fox Show. This show is for the woman whose life looks good from the outside, looks good on paper, but it doesn't fully feel like hers. You don't feel the joy and the gratitude that you feel like you should feel. I had so many of those moments in my life where everything looked super polished from the outside. There were the vacations and the cars and the clothes and I knew I should feel excited and feel grateful, but and don't get me wrong, there were those moments, but I didn't feel like I could be fully myself inside of any of it. And that just cut me off from the true experience of loving my life, of being present and really able to feel the juice. I say juicy and delicious life all the time. And so what we're going to talk about on this podcast is building the self-trust required and the expansion of your identity that is required to build a life that feels as good as it looks. So the episodes are going to be around 20 minutes long, and we are going to dive into lots of topics. I'm going to get into hot takes. I may have a few guests on the show if it feels really aligned. There are a few people that I would love to ask to be on the podcast. But the conversations are going to be insightful. They're going to give you perspective shifts, new ways of considering who you are, and really your relationship with yourself. Because your relationship with you is the basis for the entire reality that you project out around you, and therefore what gets projected back. So we'll talk about self-trust, we'll talk about identity, we'll talk about your nervous system, we will talk about spirituality and metaphysics and every piece that goes into creating a juicy and delicious life from your highest level of agency as the badass woman that you are. Because I know you so well because you are so much like me in that you're a high achieving woman. You are hopefully a recovering perfectionist, which is a lifelong journey. And you want to squeeze all the juice out of this lifetime possible. And that's what we're going to do together. So over the last 3 years, that's what I've been building for myself, an unapologetically authentic life surrounded by people who see me for exactly who I am, who are not asking me to change. And I'm happy and blessed and, grateful for the fact that I have been able to do that. I met an incredible man 6 months after I left the marital home. It was crazy. I was doing the dating thing. I want to even talk about more of my dating experiences on this podcast because I think it's so interesting to have gone from 19 to 33 in a relationship and then jumped straight back into the dating world. Got on dating apps for the first time ever. So I met this incredible man. I matched with him the weekend that I moved out of the marital home, and we did not meet for 6 months after that. He is also previously divorced, so he was smart. He knew what I was going to have to go through and experience for myself before I would be in any kind of a place to consider any kind of relationship. And even 6 months in, I mean, that was still rather quick, and I wrestled with that. I talked to so many of my very close friends. Is it too soon? Should I be single for longer? Am I ready for this? Is this a smart move? And they all encouraged me and they said, Millie, you have been preparing for this for years. You have been doing the inner work on yourself for years. Don't pass this up. Just, in the name of healing or fixing yourself to some kind of magical, imaginary, made up level. So I listened to them and I am now engaged with a fat diamond ring on my finger. It's way bigger than I told him I wanted, but we won't say no to that. He proposed to me in January, just a few months ago. And we blended our families. I have 2 children, a 9-year-old and a soon-to-be 6-year-old, and he has a 12-year-old, soon-to-be 13-year-old, and we live together in an incredible big condo in Toronto, and we are on an adventure of a lifetime, really consciously creating our life together because neither of us want to end up as a statistic because we know that second marriages have an even higher divorce rate than first marriages. So join me on this journey. We are getting into it. I have learned so much in the last 3 years about what it really takes to embody all of the things that I have been coaching on for ever and ever. I've been a coach since I was in my early 20s. I started as a personal trainer and I got into nutrition and fertility nutrition, and I was a doula, and then I came into full life coaching after I had my son in 2017. And I've been doing that since then, and I niched as the no BS manifestation coach, which I'm still a massive fan of manifestation. I just wanted to put a little bit of distance between myself and that space because I think there's just so much toxic positivity and gaslighting that goes on in the manifestation world, and there's so many disclaimers and context that need to be provided in that space. So I will be diving into those topics, the truth about manifestation, what do you really need to consciously create your reality, how does it all really work? And for me, I have been in this phase of embodiment. I have been challenged to really live as the woman that I actually want to be, especially in this relationship. There's really three things I think that force your personal growth. One is relationships. You can deny it, but you're going to suffer. One is relationships, the other is entrepreneurship, and the third is motherhood. So I've got all three, and I am literally in the business of helping other people do the same. So my life revolves around expanding my identity, being the woman who has the life that I want. And a lot of the questions that come up with that, like, well, if you're this, then why doesn't your life look like that by now? And I think the biggest thing here that high achieving women need, that women like you need, perfectionists need, is a lot of permission and popping the shame bubble that we constantly are putting ourselves in. Giving ourselves permission to be human, knowing that we are not alone in our journeys and our struggles, and that we deserve to be kind to ourselves, and that divine timing is 100% real. And the point is not the destination. The point is, how much can I relax into myself and enjoy the journey and allow and be intentional, right? I think a lot of high achieving women think that allowing means becoming passive, and it means becoming complacent and just going with the flow and letting life have its way with you. But I don't agree with that at all. So we will be diving further into that discussion on this Millie Fox Show rebooted podcast. And I'm just super excited to be back with you guys because I absolutely adored having my podcast before, and this time around we are going even more anti-perfectionist with it. I mentioned I had a team of 4 people helping me produce this podcast previously. Now it's just going to be me, my camera, and my one assistant. Oh, and my beautiful new microphone as well, because I didn't have any of this set up in the past. So we're going to be kicking it. I'm going to be giving you radical permission to pursue whatever it is that your heart has been telling you to go for. We're going to create a juicy and delicious life. And we are going to trust the fuck out of ourselves. Okay. So I'm going to drop some truth bombs on you right now before I close out this very first episode. And by the way, I was not planning to record this episode today at all. I just got into setting up the camera because I finally got the cord I needed. And I was like, you know what? Just do it. Just do it. Follow your own advice. Get scrappy and just do it. I was like, oh, no, I don't look right. Blah, blah, blah. And I turned the camera on. I was like, girl, you look fine. You look fine. Like, fine. Not just fine. Okay, so let's look at some truths to close out this episode. Number 1, You cannot create a life that you love from a version of yourself that doesn't trust herself. Not going to happen. That was a huge thing that I had to learn leaving my marriage. It was really, really hard to know if it was the right decision. I agonized over it. Therapy, couples therapy, books, conscious uncoupling, all the things. And I just really needed to trust myself. Also, how am I going to figure this out on my own was another one. How am I going to trust myself? And I just always come back to the mantra of I always get what I want and I always figure things out. And the same applied in this situation. Really need to take the leap and know that the net will appear. The second truth is that we're really not stuck. Most of us are truly not stuck. We're operating out of patterns that we've just practiced so many times. They feel like the truth. So a belief is really simply just a thought that you've practiced so many times that it feels automatic. So we're going to craft some new beliefs together on the Millie Fox Show. Number 3, this one was actually one of the biggest pieces that allowed me to make the leap, and that nervous system regulation is not optional. It's not nice to have, and it is not something that is just a buzzword. It is something you experience viscerally when you start to understand what it really means and how it truly feels to increase your ability to stay regulated. You're never going to stay regulated all the time. It's not possible. It's not even something to aim for. But you have something called a window of tolerance, which is the space in which you can remain regulated, where you can respond instead of react. And if you can start looking at that and supporting your nervous system regularly, you are going to change the way you show up in your life. You're going to change the capacity that you have to hold next levels and to have the courage to make bold moves and take risks. So that is absolutely true. Nervous system regulation is not a nice to have. It is also the difference between knowing what to do in your mind and actually doing it. And truth number 4 is that confidence really doesn't come from positively brainwashing yourself. Like, it's nice to do that. Absolutely. You can create some new beliefs and things like that. But confidence for the 99% part is really from building self-trust, which comes from keeping small promises to yourself. Those mundane moments of courage where you speak your truth instead of keep quiet. And also from the big moments of making bold moves or taking risks, big and small risks too, right? Taking risks teaches us one of two things. One is either that we can do it, we build evidence for our capacity and capability, or 2, that we are resilient. We're going to explore resilience on this podcast too, because I think that so many of us want to be resilient, but we don't exactly know how to do that. And that does come a lot from nervous system regulation. It does come a lot also from knowing how to connect with other people, how to allow yourself to be supported, and how to have compassion for yourself. Courage, compassion, connection. 3 C's of wholehearted living, a la Brené Brown. If any of you know me to any degree, you know that The Gifts of Imperfection is my Bible, and I am obsessed with the pillars of wholehearted living. We'll be diving into that too. So we are done forcing outcomes in this space. We are committed to listening to ourselves, to understanding our values, to operating from an unwavering inner compass. We are ready to begin trusting our own timing, divine timing, timing of the universe, of allowing things to unfold instead of gripping. We are releasing the white knuckles. Maybe we are water rafting, but we are not trying to paddle upstream, okay? Everything you want is downstream. Nothing you want is upstream, okay? Even if there's hard work involved, right? You're going downstream whitewater rafting, you're still going to need to use your core. Engage your core, girlfriend. So that is where I'm going to leave you. We are moving into peace. We are moving into clarity. We are moving into deeper self-trust relationship upgrades, especially with yourself. We are looking at what does it take to rewrite your money story, to actually enjoy your life, to be satisfied with yourself, with who you are, a deep level of satisfaction, of gratitude, not forced gratitude. I call that toxic gratitude. And if you're listening to this and something in you feels heard or seen, you are exactly who this show is for. And in the next episode, I'm going to break down why most high achieving women think they have a motivation or a discipline problem, when really it's something completely different. Like, oh, I just need to manage my time better, blah, blah, blah. Nah, that's not it. You're already really good at that. I mean, maybe you're procrastinating on something and that's why it's not in your calendar, but we're going to explore the reason for that. All right, babes. Thank you so much for being here, for tuning in to the very first Millie Fox Show rebooted episode. Please subscribe so you can get the notifications. This is on Spotify, this is on Apple, this is everywhere. If you want to help support me in any way, if you're not ready to work with me or whatever else, you can always support me by sharing this podcast, because it is going to be a labor of love straight from my soul. So if something in this episode hit for you, send it to somebody who needs it. Share it, tag me so I can see it. And if you are ready to actually work side by side or in a group of incredible women, message me the word rebooted, doesn't matter. And we can talk about where to get you started. And I will see you in the next episode. The next episodes, like the next 4 or 5 episodes, are going to be a series. They're going to be bingeable. So if you're here, they should already be released. And you can just hop right in. Love you so much. Bye for now.